Welcome to the WOCNCB Certification Inspiration Podcast. My name is Lisa Obradovic, Marketing Manager for WOCNCB. In this episode, we are highlighting our 2025 Employer Recognition Award winner, UAB Hospital, located in Birmingham, Alabama. Today, we are joined by several members of UAB Hospital. Terry Poe, CNO of UAB Hospital, Marty, Vander, Noot, Medical Director of the WOC team at UAB Hospital, Holly Waller, Senior Director of Trauma, Burn, and Inpatient Wound Services. We also have members of the WOC nurse team, all WOCNCB certified wound ostomy continence nurses, otherwise known as CWOCNs. We have Kelly Chapman, team lead of the WOC team, Dylan Carpenter, and Bridget Vola. I also wanted to introduce members of our award committee, Sarah and Alex. Sarah and Alex are members of the WOCNCB Board of Directors and certified nurses. They reviewed all the award submissions and will be leading our discussion today. Welcome everyone, and thank you for taking the time to speak with us. Congratulations to UAB Hospital. Before we jump into questions, I wanted to share an incredible statistic mentioned in the UAB Hospital award submission. UAB Hospital maintains a ratio of 1 CWOCN for every 100 patients in a 1,207-bed academic medical institution with a level 1 trauma designation. That's pretty amazing. Sarah, you have a question regarding the start of the amazing WOC program at UAB Hospital. Why don't you get the conversation started?
Thanks, Lisa. Congratulations to you all. Your application was so impressive, and I'm really happy you could join us for this. Like Lisa said, the first question I have for you is, how did the WOC nursing program start at your organization, and what was the growth process like to get to that 1 to 100 ratio?
Yes, Sarah, thank you so much. I would like to answer that because I've been here the longest. I became a WOC nurse in 2004. I was the third one on the team. And back then we were really just putting out fires, just trying to, see the patients just as best we could. So then we hired another one, and through the years, we worked with 4 to 6 WOC nurses. In 2016, we decided to revamp our team. And so that's when Dr. Vander became our medical director and Holly became our director. And so in the meetings, we were, trying to figure out how to organize our team. And that's when we decided we need 1 WOC nurse for every 100 beds. And so we asked for a total of 12. And we also, Holly is over the burn dressing team, and she has techs that help with the burn dressings. So she said, well, what about, wound techs? And we're like, sure, we don't really know what to do with those, but we'll take them. And then Dr. Vander, we knew was going to need an APP to work with him. So that was kind of a no-brainer. Well, we thought, well, they'll probably just give us half of what we're asking for. They gave us everything. So we hired a whole bunch of WOC nurses, or a whole bunch of nurses, sent them all to school at Emory, and got them through the certification process, got them onboarded. And now we have 1 to 100 beds. We each have about 4 units a piece. And so we're able to do more fixed education and do more patient follow-ups, and it's really consistent.
That's wonderful. Thank you. As a follow-up to that, how does your organization then promote WOC nursing and recruit nurses to the specialty?
So I'll answer that one. UAB is truly a phenomenal place to work. They believe in WOC nursing and help support from the very beginning of a nurse's career. When nurses start at UAB, many of the units have them to shadow with the WOC nurses during the orientation process. So right at the ground level, they're getting to shadow with us and learn, how do you place a consult to the WOC team? How do you prevent pressure injuries? What are the supplies that you're going to be using on your designated floor? If a nurse is really interested in wounds, the next step for them would be to do the WOC nurse unit expert. And what that is it is a 4-day internship where the nurses are able to come and join our team, and they see the why behind what we're doing. Why are we using these particular products? Why are we putting a convex pouch on the ostomy rather than a flat pouch? So they get a more deep understanding of what WOC nursing is. For those who have even more interest, the next step would be to do the Wound Scholar program. And this is a phenomenal program. It's either a 1 year or 2 years, depending on if they want to do the advocate or the advanced. And what it does is it walks the individuals through the wound treatment associate curriculum. They're able to sit for that certification at the end if they choose. They also go to monthly lunch and learns put on by the WOC team. They're able to meet with reps from ostomy and wound care supply companies to learn about the products that were used in the facility. And my favorite part, they're guided through educational quality improvement projects. So by the end of that program, they really have a firm foundation of what WOC nursing is. And they're able to be on their units, these agents of change and promoting systemic change across the Institute. So UAB truly, truly supports our facility. In addition, whenever we are hiring on the team, we look at those who went through all of the Wound Scholar and the Unit Expert to find those who are truly interested in wound care. UAB pays for the certification for us. They pay for us to go to conferences. So once you show that interest, they are really pushing us in WOC nursing.
That is so incredible. Then moving along, what inspired you to pursue the WOCNCB certification? If some of you want to answer that one.
Yeah, I can answer that one. So UAB does require us to have wound, ostomy, and continence certifications, but in addition to just being a required thing, it is the gold standard. We know that it's the gold standard for WOC nursing. So there wouldn't be any other certification that they would want us to have. It also just supports the quality education aspect of WOC nursing and the kind of care that we want to provide. So that's the most important part of all of that.
Does anybody else want to answer too? What inspired you to get certified?
Yeah, I mean, I just really what Bridget said. It was just the gold standard, and it provides us expertise and gives us, the backing to be experts in our field.
Great, thank you.
I guess it's my turn to ask further questions. I would like to congratulate you again on a very well-deserved award and a very well-written nomination essay. I have an easy but kind of difficult question at the same time. If you only have one word to describe your team, and anyone or everyone can answer this, what would that word be?
I think the one thing that is very obvious when I work with these guys on a daily basis is that they're all passionate about what they do. They really are dedicated to care and not just about just seeing a patient either, but about education, what they can do to promote others that are taking care of the patient. It's just, so the word would be passion.
It's funny that you say it's a difficult question to ask because answer it. It certainly is. I had a lot of words and they were hyphenated and they were long sentences because I think this team is absolutely amazing. And I'm just so thrilled that I just get to be their cheerleader, really. The word that I would come up with probably is empathetic. I have watched them go beyond any reasonable measures to get what they need for their patients. And they talk to them after they go home and they form these relationships with patients that is truly special. So I have to say empathetic.
If I had to pick one word, it would likely be innovative. We are truly fortunate to work with such a wealth of knowledge on our team. We know evidence-based practice, but we're even pushing that boundary with developing our own quality improvement initiatives and advancing the WOC nursing profession at our institution, but even pushing it out to the state and the national level.
I guess mine would be supportive. So we support each other, but we also try to support community initiatives and even statewide initiatives with some of the, Medicaid things. And so I would say supportive.
Mine is collaborative. Not only do we have a big team of WOC nurses and resources, Dr. Vander, Noot, to collaborate with, but also other services. We collaborate with other services to help us with their patients, other physician services, other, dietitians and all that. So collaborative. We are so blessed to have so many. We always talk about, when you go to conferences or when you're in school and you meet these other WOC nurses or students that are going back to their hospital and they're the only one. And we have so many to bounce ideas off of and, get help with. Hey, take a look at this. That's really, really nice.
I think my word would be empowering. I had the pleasure of watching these folks, through the eyes of 4,000 other nurses. And I think the courage and the power that they are able to give to that team in order to teach them to make autonomous decisions that they know are right because of the expertise sitting in the room, I think I would use empowering.
Great words. I have passionate, empathetic, innovative, supportive, collaborative, and empowering. 6 words that describe your team, but I'm sure it means a lot more based on everything that you said. So I'll turn it over to Lisa.
Since winning the award, has your organization done anything further to promote the items highlighted in your nomination? I was curious to anyone that wants to answer.
So one of the things we have a communications coordinator in our division, and she's going to highlight the awards through our social media platforms and especially around our hospital, because we do think it's that big of a deal. And then the other thing that the administrative support has given us is an outpatient WOC nurse to support our ambulatory divisions so that we can standardize pre-op teaching and we can follow up patients and keep that a kind of a separate entity that we can collaborate with. So that's been truly phenomenal support for that position.
I guess my next question would be, we're talking about the value of WOC certified nurses, both as frontline clinicians and also as leaders in an organization. My next question would tackle more on the impact of leadership and management of a WOCNCB certified nurse, both to the WOC nursing team and to the frontline clinicians and organizations. What do you think is that impact? And anyone can answer.
I can speak to the impact that the team has on the organization. I think as an organization, we're a typical academic medical center that has 4 pillars, and our pillars are finance, quality, engagement or service, and then advancement of knowledge. And I think, this particular program, these people impact every single one of the pillars. If you think about it, from an administrative standpoint, why would we not invest in this team? Because when you think about service and a patient's experience, leaving with skin intact or having skin heal while you're there, there's no greater service than that. And quality, we measure so much quality that have to do with our skin, and hospital-wide, we get a great impact from that. Financially, it's millions of dollars to our organization when we have patients who heal fast and go home quickly. So I think it's, countless ways that we receive value. Just the reputation alone of what this organization means to our community is huge. So it to me is really wrapped up in the pillars of the organization that we're all accountable for and evaluated at the end of the year for. So I think it just makes the impact that we have on each other great.
To anyone that wants to answer, how can organizations and employers best support the value of WOCNCB certified nurses?
I'll take that one as a starter as well. I think it's a lot of ways, but I think we've already really talked about investment. I think, you tend to get out of most relationships what you put in it. So I really used that example in the beginning. We talked about, what do we receive from each other? And I think the accomplishments of this team are also the accomplishments of the organization. But I believe that one way that we best support this team is we yield to them as experts. They are the experts. And I think one of the greatest things the organization has done is allowed a nurse at the bedside to consult this expert team, when in the old days, the adage was that physicians and providers did consults. But now we have empowered our nurses to feel comfortable with this team. So I think the one thing that we do give them back is they are in charge. We listen when they say what they need. They are the experts in their areas. And as a shared governance organization, I think it's really what it's all about. I mean, you think about the magnet pathways and really everything it teaches us to have a synergistic model where, you know, we try to bring the right people to the right patients so that they get the best care. So I think for me, yielding to them is a huge thing that we try to give back. And of course, we invest in their education and certification. And, you know, recently we've had a conversation about this group of nurses being part of our career ladder program where they were not in the past. And the truth is, when we all got together to talk about the career ladder, none of us could answer why they had not been included to begin with. So we're working on that now, so that now, again, a synergistic relationship, we will allow them to participate in this career ladder program, and they will bring back to us a project that they implement on a unit at the point of care that, of course, we'll just see huge value for them. So I can't say enough about just the way we all work together to support each other and our patients and staff.
I think that one of the things that we really recognize is something that Terry touched on, which is understanding that they are experts in their field. So, right, we all know that you have to have data in order to drive change, but you've got to be able to trust the data. And so when we first started, we needed to create a means for pulling information from the electronic medical record, but then we had to make sure that it was correct. And so who else could you go to but to the experts? And then they then allowed us to validate the data, which then allowed us to go to units, which allowed us to then drive change. We couldn't have done that if we weren't convinced of the data. In order to drive change, you've got to be able to have education. Our institution has committed a certified wound ostomy continence nurse within the Center for Nursing Excellence. So in addition to our clinical team, we have somebody who is dedicated to working with that group, which works with nursing education. He does a really good job of digging through the data on a daily basis, so that can then drive change. With regards to something that Dylan mentioned, which was innovation, right? We created offloading techniques for patients with tracheostomies, and that had a great success with that. We could never have done that without looking at the data first and then being able to educate really not just nurses, but the entire team, right? We have physicians, nurses, PCTs that all shadow this team. We have physicians that are now part of the Wound Scholar program and going through that because they recognize that if they want to learn, they've got to learn from the best, and that's just these folks on this team. And so the idea is to really lean into that. We even had a physician group request, say, hey, I really appreciate everything you guys are doing, but we'd really love it if they were here 7 days a week. And we're like, that seems like a lot. And yet the organization, right, UAB said, okay, that's meaningful to our physician leadership. That's what we're going to do. So we actually have 7-day-a-week coverage that provides care.
I want to expound on one other thing that I think is unique to this team, and certainly an advantage that I think other organizations should consider. And I think that's Dr. Vander Noot and our wound certified APP, who's a nurse practitioner. I tell our team all the time, they don't realize how lucky they are to be so close and work so closely with their medical director. Like on Fridays, he sits down, we talk about a case, and everybody gets to go through these challenging cases and get his opinion. And then all the WOC nurses are able to give their opinion on how it should be treated. And if there's a debate on, he's teaching them all the medical side to look at, all the labs that would be interesting or nice to know about. And I really think that relationship and building this team as a complex team has enabled us to work, or enabled them to work more closely with services in the hospital that aren't comfortable taking care of wounds. And I think that has been a direct reduction in length of stay for us. And ultimately better care for patients.
Thank you everyone. And these are really great and inspiring answers, both from the WOC team and obviously from leadership. It is very evident that UAB Hospital has not only supported, but also empowered the WOC team in your facility. It's something that not every other WOC team in the country is fortunate enough to have. So while I congratulate you on that and thank your leadership for that, my question would be, how can you as WOCNCB certified nurses best advocate for their roles, for your role to achieve the kind of organizational support that you achieve, to maybe inspire other WOC nurses who may be listening to our podcast right now and want to do the same?
I think the thing that they do really well is lean into the fact that they're experts in their field. I know we've said that several times, but I think it's important to recognize they are part of a multidisciplinary team that we have here at UAB. And so that's one way that certified nurses can advocate for themselves, is by becoming involved. If you're the expert in pressure injury prevention, then you should be part of the team that is choosing your mattresses, choosing your products that you use. If there's education that's going on, it's good to become involved with that. This team is a great example of that and how they have leaned into that. We have an interprofessional skin team that meets monthly that gets together to talk about pressure injury prevention and all the obstacles that occur with that. They are performing bedside education for the nurses, which I think is just invaluable. You really don't know if you've wedged somebody properly unless you're standing at the bedside with a wedge. You can't show them what we mean by offloading heels unless you're sliding the pillow under the calves and not just putting it under their feet. So what that means then is that you are becoming more than a dressing change team. You're much more than that. And so I think that that's one way that you can advocate for yourself, is what it means to be certified and what it means to be an expert. And then you can see the results of that. I think this institution, UAB, has done a great job of seeing that value, and that's why we have weekend coverage. That's why we have outpatient coverage. It's why certified nurses are now a part of other parts of our organization to provide that expertise. But I think that's the way that you would advocate for yourselves. I'm not sure if you guys have other examples from your units.
One of the things kind of on that subject, but a little different, if I was a nurse out there listening who was not a certified windoscopy incontinence nurse, I would say just go for it. If you ask any of the CWOCNs sitting here where we were before we went through the certification process, we would say we had no idea, right? But the certification is more than just a certification. You go through the WOCN educational programs and they build you up from the ground up. We were fortunate to go through Emory's program, and that program teaches you everything. It lays the foundation for you to build on, not only being a great CWOCN, but also being a leader in your field, someone who can take the data like Dr. Vander has talked about and really implement these changes. So I would say just go for it.
And I would say get involved in professional organization. You get to see what other people are doing, and the networking is invaluable. Conferences, just getting to see other people in your general area and across the nation. It really opens up doors and it gives you opportunities to talk to people. We've had several facilities actually reach out to us just over the last couple of years, trying to model their system after sort of what we have done, just because of the way it's working for us. And they're adapting it to their system, but that all came from meeting somebody at a conference and starting a conversation. So get involved in the professional organizations and attend conferences, and that's a huge part.
That concludes our questions. I want to congratulate you again for a very well-deserved award to you and your leadership team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Congratulations. It was so exciting to meet you in person, but the work you're doing throughout your hospital is amazing, truly inspiring, and is a WOCNCB certification inspiration. Thank you for listening. WOCNCB sets the standard for wound, ostomy, continence, and foot care nursing certification by validating nurses' knowledge to provide patient-centered care. Until next time, visit WOCNCB.org to learn more or contact WOCNCB at info@WOCNCB.org. And remember to follow us on social media. This podcast is produced by WOCNCB. Take care.